Well, good morning to you. I am privileged to be the sixth president of Kentucky Christian University in our 105-year history. It's not very many presidents, and I understood that when I took the role, and I'm privileged to be a part of that. I want to tell you that KCC is your school, and I hope that you take advantage of that. We have an award-winning School of Nursing that is constantly receiving accolades from the nursing world. We were named in the top 10 online MSN program, the master degree in the nation. We're the only faith-based school to make that list. We're very proud of that. Our undergraduate degrees are excellent, constantly receiving state accolades. But it's more than that. At KCU, everybody at least minors in biblical studies. Because whether it's nursing or it's our School of Business or it's our School of Education that's led by a very adept K-12 educator that also is the associate preaching minister at Orrville Christian Church. Whether it's any of those things, I want everybody there to also leave with a strong foundation in the Word. Because if we need anything today, we need strong believers that are in the business world, strong believers in the nursing community providing health care, and for goodness sakes, we need strong believers in our K-12 schools bringing the Word of God to those places. And that is what KCU is all about in those programs. And of course, I'm very proud of our Keyran School of Bible and Ministry, where we prepare leaders for the church. And I'm very excited about the Worship Collective. That is the worship ministry portion of what we do. And those students are just amazing. Lead us in chapel service every Tuesdays and Thursdays. And we just really enjoy ourselves having them. They've released songs. They're getting ready to release another one at the end of this month. Just very proud of that group. But we're preparing preachers, we're preparing youth ministers, we're preparing missionaries. I'd ask you to pray for KCU. Even this week, we're having a missions conference on our campus for our students so they can see the different missions that they might want to get involved in ways that they might get involved in the global ministry of Christ. So we're very pleased at all that God's doing. Enrollment's up 12%. And God's blessing us. And that's usually where I stop and head into the sermon, but I want to tell you more. There's bonus material. In June, we held a press conference to announce our largest capital campaign in the history of KCU. We're endeavoring to raise $7 million. $5 million of that we've already had pledged or committed, which is pretty amazing. And we also announced at that very same time that we have paid off all of our institutional debt. KCU is completely debt-free, owes no one. Yeah. I'm glad you're happy about that, because I'm really happy about that. One of my goals as president was to hand the next president a debt-free institution. I never dreamed I'd get to enjoy it. So I got to tell you, it's pretty nice. I really enjoy it. We're going to take the next $2 million and launch an expanded online program. Some of that's already available to you, including, I want to say to you, a certificate program, a certificate in Bible or in ministry or in apologetics that is really geared towards people who are right where you're at. Aren't going to come and maybe get a degree in ministry, but do want to be a part of something that prepares them to serve better. So if you're finding yourself in leadership in any capacity here, I invite you to take a look at our certificate program. Very affordable, $99 of course. But these are legit Bible accredited, you get the idea. It's real college. Don't think it's a seminar. There's papers. But if you're interested in something like that, I invite you to talk to me afterwards, or obviously it's easy to fit in that. KCU offers a lot of services to you, and I hope that you're able to take advantage of those. Summer in the Sun, our fantastic summer program that I call a campference. I'm not sure that anybody else likes that, but it's not camp and it's not a conference, so just come and find out. It's for obviously high schoolers, and hope that you can come enjoy that. We have concerts on campus. We had Ricky Skaggs this year, and it's just a lot of fun. And I hope you can come enjoy some of those. But I just want you to know that we are here to serve you as a local church. I do have a heart for the church, and have the privilege of speaking in a different church almost every Sunday, and really do enjoy it. And speaking of that, let's get to this. I've been thinking about self-control a bit lately. Maybe you've been thinking about self-control. I don't know. I think about odd things once in a while, and self-control has kind of been on my mind a bit. Because I see a society, I live in a society, you live in a society, that really lifts up a lack of self-control. That simply encourages us to do amazingly bad things, like follow our heart. Oh, there's a plan. Or simply live as we wish to live. I Googled self-control, the ability to regulate one's emotions, thoughts, and behavior in the face of, see, we can all hold it together when everything's fine, but in the face of temptation and impulses. I see this glorification of a lack of self-control, an encouragement to really not have self-control in society. Just in the past few news cycles, I've seen some amazing things. You see it. Hope you've seen this video on YouTube. Amazing. So the guy goes to get a cup of coffee at one of those drive-through coffee places, like a little kiosk thing, and he gets his coffee and he drives away and he doesn't like it. It's too hot, it's too cold, it's too something. So he doesn't like it. And so instead of going back and saying to the person at the window there, hey, this wasn't really what I was looking for, could you maybe, make it another? He drives back up to the window and he throws the coffee in the window. Not to be outdone, the young lady working in the coffee shop instantly, like she was ready for this, dives halfway out the drive-through window with a hammer. You're rooting for her, aren't you? You shouldn't be. All right. Dives out the window, and she's putting holes in this dude's windshield. At which he chooses to drive away without his coffee. Amazing. A lady was living in a house where several people were renting rooms, and there was that guy, right, that wasn't cleaning up after himself. They had shared spaces like the kitchen or what have you. He always left it a mess. And so she did the reasonable thing. She shot him. I went right home and did the dishes. And here I am, alive and well. It's just amazing to me to see the lack of self-control in society. But it's not just with violence. In one of the quarters of last year, the United States boasted $1.12 trillion of credit card debt. 1.12 trillion examples of us living beyond our means, buying things that we can't afford. Survey I read said 3% of those surveyed said that it was okay to cheat on your spouse. Well, I'm not happy about the 3%, but I thought 97% said it was wrong. That's pretty good. But within that same population, it was estimated that approximately 40% have been unfaithful to their spouse. See, intellectually we say, well, no, that's not something that a person ought to do. But when faced with the temptation, when faced with the impulse, we can't self-regulate. Oh, we could talk about the results of jealousy in our lives. We could talk about our lack of control of our tempers. We could talk about our driving habits. We could talk about our reaction to the driving habits of others. Our eating habits. You get the idea. Galatians 5 offers us some words. Brothers and sisters, you were called to be free, but do not use your freedom to indulge the flesh. You're free. You're free in Christ, but don't abuse it. Later on in that same chapter, words that are very familiar to us, but the fruit of the Spirit. What's produced in our lives is love and joy and peace and forbearance and kindness and goodness and faithfulness and gentleness and self-control. The church, it's up to us. The church, we must begin practicing self-control. So whether you're in grade school or high school or old school, we have got to be the people that practice and show self-control. Oh, there are lots of verses throughout Scripture I looked at when I was thinking over self-control. Job 31:1, I made a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully at a young woman. 2 Peter 1:5, make every effort to add to your faith. We've got faith. You got faith. Now we're going to add. We're going to add to it. We're going to add to your faith goodness, and to goodness knowledge, and to knowledge self-control. You know, one of the things I love about KCU is that there's knowledge. You can get knowledge anywhere. You can Google knowledge. But it comes with a discipleship. It comes with a call to service. It comes with a call to self-control. If you're in leadership in the church, you know that there are some strong words for you in 1 Timothy and in Titus chapter 1, Titus chapter 2, that all do what? Attempt to help us understand that as leaders, we must live lives that are characterized by self-control. There are lots of places we could have gone to look at self-control, but honestly, as I looked at it more and more, it is in the Proverbs that we have to go. Now, I'm a big fan of the Proverbs. We have chapel twice a week at KCU. It's required. You get to come. And we have QR codes, too. You sign in with the QR code, and you sign out with a QR code. And oh, yeah, we change it every 7 seconds because you can't send it to your friends. Because we ain't dumb. And in that chapel on Tuesdays, I do Proverbs with the Prez. I have a theme song, pretty cool. And I get up and I simply read a proverb because I feel like they bring us so much practical advice to life. And so as people of faith, as people who have already obeyed Jesus, what do we do? Proverbs has a lot to say about that, and I just want to spend a couple of minutes here talking about self-control in the Proverbs. Look at Proverbs 20, verse 1. Wine is a mocker, strong drink a brawler. Whoever is led astray by it is not wise. Now, alcohol is brought up here, but the fact is that we could talk about almost anything that we ingest. That we ingest through our mouth or through our eyes, through our ears, anything that we're putting into ourselves. See, we really do lack self-control when we lose the ability to control what we put into our minds, what we put into our bodies. How much? What I eat? Am I addicted to anything? Caffeine, sugar, tobacco, energy drinks, pain medication, you get the idea. I've been fascinated by this rise of popularity of energy drinks. People who drink energy drinks around me are often younger than me, which I feel like energy drinks should be reserved for people in my demographic. I'll say to them, hey, do you know how you say energy drink in Spanish? And sometimes people will try, and sometimes people will just say no, so I'm going to help you. I'm going to teach you how to say energy drink in Spanish. Kidney stone. That was for free. I don't know if it's any use to you whatsoever, but and in case you thought, well, he's stretching that verse a little too far, that can't be true. Look at Proverbs 23, 20, and 21. But be not among the drunkards or among gluttonous eaters of meat. For the drunkard and the glutton will come to poverty, and slumber will clothe them with rags. We've got to be careful what we're ingesting, because it's going to make us into really what we are. Proverbs 29:11 talks about controlling our anger. Oh boy, controlling our anger. 29:11, fools give full vent to their rage, but the wise bring calm in the end. A couple things here. So the word for fool in English and in Hebrew means fool. It's not a nice word. It's not a word I use except when I'm reading it. But it's interesting, there's another layer of meaning in the Hebrew for this. I'm not a Hebrew expert, I just read things. But there's another layer of meaning here, and that is morally inept. The morally inept give full vent to their anger. 16:32 says, whoever is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit, who has self-control, than he who takes a city. When you walk into a room and there's conflict in that room, does the entire room go, oh, I'm so glad you're here? Or does the entire room go, uh-oh? We have got to be careful that we control our anger, because fools give full vent to their room, wide open, the throttle stuck on full. And we have got to be those who control our anger. We have got to be those who bring peace into the setting. Greater is he who rules his spirit than he who takes a city. Well, we need to control what we put in our bodies for sure, right? And we need to control our anger, but there's more, I think, in the Proverbs. 12:16 says, fools, there's that word again, fools show their annoyance at once, but the prudent overlook an insult. Sometimes we lose control, we lack self-control, when we lose the ability to control our reactions, how we react to things. It's not just about being angry, it's about how we respond. In my lifetime, if I wanted to insult somebody, I could either tell them face to face or write them a letter. And then we invented fax machines. So now if I want to fax you a strongly worded letter, I could. But today, it's not just between us, is it? As if you're frustrated with me, and I hope you're not, please don't do this, but if you're frustrated with me, you can post on the internet for all to read, that guy literally made no sense for 25 whole minutes. Which is amazing to me, but that's just going to happen. It's just the reality of the world we live in. If you don't want to be criticized and you don't want to have anybody post about something about you online, your only choice is to do absolutely nothing. But then somebody might criticize you for that, huh? It's fine. But how we respond to it, how we react to it, really shows a measure of self-control. You've seen the verses in the Old Testament, haven't you? An eye for an eye. Which really needs to be read with a pirate voice, doesn't it? You want me to do it? An eye for an eye. Oh yeah, I could be a pirate. And we take that verse and we say, that means we can get even. That is not what that verse is calling us to do. In multiple instances in the Old Testament, it's a call to a reasoned calculated, moderate response. That if a person lost their eye in a conflict, you don't get to take their life. You don't get to take all their lands. You don't get to execute their family. It's a moderated response. And that's what we need to be about as believers. Is that when we're insulted, when we're attacked, it happens. Doesn't it happen? It happens. We don't respond to an insult. We don't feel the need to get even. We don't feel the need to hit back. We just don't respond. The interesting thing to me is that when I've responded prudently, when I've been wise, when I've not reacted out of just reacting, I've never regretted it. I can't recall a single time where I've thought to myself, I really should have lost it. That would have been better. But I can tell you many times where I've not responded prudently, and I've always regretted it. See, we've got to be people of self-control, even in the face of an insult. Proverbs 13:3 talks about a further issue within this same vein of thought, and that is that we lack self-control when we lose the ability to control our words, what we say. Proverbs 13:3, whoever guards his mouth preserves his life. Listen to this wording. I love this wording. He who opens wide his lips. I don't know, I just like that one, sorry. He who opens wide his lips comes to ruin. 21:23. Whoever keeps his mouth and his tongue keeps himself out of trouble. Ta-da! Want to stay out of trouble? Stop talking. Just stop. I can't think of a time where I've really had a problem when I didn't speak, but I can think of a lot of times when I had a problem when I did. James makes an interesting observation, doesn't he? He says he's inspired. He's the half-brother of Jesus. I'm going to listen to what he says. The tongue is full of poison, and it's a restless evil.